Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving, but most importantly, that you had some time to rest and relax since finals is here. This is finals week. Welcome to Let's Talk Ed with Professor Chris. Once again, the best college podcast where we continue to explore the big questions about education, careers, and the future, but most importantly, the show that is empowering minds one episode at a time. I am still your host, Professor Chris. This is still the segment of Ask Professor Chris. The topic for today was actually going to be navigating the noise, how college students can tackle distractions. So this was a topic I was thinking about leading into this podcast, but then I was reminded about finals week, but also kind of realized that this topic actually could tie into what to do to get ready or to prepare for your finals. So I'm actually going to be doing a combo today. I will still be talking about our topic, again, is navigating the noise, how college students can tackle distractions. And I will also add on to that some final tidbits on how to prepare for the finals. Again, please put your comments, your questions in the comment sections in the YouTube as you're watching the segments. Thank you if you've subscribed already, but please continue to subscribe. All right, let's get to it. So if I were to ask right now, what is the worst college student distraction? What is it that distracts college students the most? What will your guess be? If it is technology, you are probably right. Gone are the days, back in my day, where we thought our biggest distraction was actually the opposite sex, right? Maybe you're interested in somebody, you want to date somebody, that's actually probably where we spend most of our time. But gone are those days. Add to that now technology. We can't leave the home without our cell phones. We go crazy, right? We can forget our driver's license, we can forget our keys to certain things, we can forget our textbooks, but it's not going to be our cell phones, right? We live, we breathe with our cell phones, and that's where technology has got into right now. I remember when you couldn't use your cell phones to take pictures. Even when texting started, that was amazing. That was an evolution, right? So again, let's get to it. Your biggest distraction now has to do with technology and the social media, texting, notification on your phones, what have you. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Why does this topic matter? I do every now and then mentor, advise, help different students during my advising sessions. And what I do is go through their classes, see how things are going. So I'm aware of the distractions that happens on the weekend. You all have things planned out, right, of what you're going to do. Everything but maybe time set aside for your homework, your projects, or your assignments. So I do understand and I know the distraction that is happening on. Or I'm advising a student and they don't understand concepts that are going on in the classroom. Instructor is a great instructor, so what is the problem, right? And we talk about some of these distractions. So I figured it will be a good topic to discuss. And also, as we're getting close to finals, it is a time that if we could cut off any distractions, we're in the final stretch here. So if you cut off any distractions, that could probably help you get back on track. So again, it's a topic that I'm meaning to discuss, and it couldn't come at any better time. So we're talking about, again, college students' distractions. Let's look at the different types of distraction, right? Let's look at the different types of distractions, and then we'll look at some numbers here. There are three main types of distractions. And again, within the college settings, there is number one, the social distractions, which I'm sure we're all aware of. Your friends, your parties, your social media. Those are your social distractions. Then we have environmental distractions. What are environmental distractions? Some of you live in dorms with your roommates, so noisy dorms, so that means you're not going to be able to do any work in your dorms, okay? That's an environmental distraction. The last one is internal distractions. Stress, anxiety, and daydreaming, right? I don't know how many times in my classroom I have to wake student up, which is why, by the way, I know the names of all my students, but yeah, sometimes we space out, we're somewhere else besides the classroom, okay? So these are the three types: the social distraction, which again is the number one, and then we have environmental distraction and internal distractions. These all affect or impact your productivity, right? And of course, we think these are just simple three distractions. At the end of the day, it's going to affect our production. And when it affects your production, stresses build up. Okay. All right, so very quickly, of course, we got to do some numbers here. Let's look at some of the statistics on here. One that I wasn't too surprised about, but I didn't realize it was this high, is the number of undergraduates that claim digital distractions impair their academic performance. 80%. Not 40, not 50, 80%. 80% of undergraduates claim digital distraction impair their academic performance. Once again, I'm not surprised, but I didn't realize it was this high. It is estimated that students can spend anywhere from 40 to 60% of their class time engaging in off-task digital activities. And I've seen that. There are classes these days where students have to sit in front of the monitors or their computers. So what do you think happens most of the time while they're sitting behind a computer? Yes. In addition to that, I do know some instructors actually suggest that you turn off your cell phones while in your class, but that's something you cannot control. If you're in a classroom of 100 students, it's very difficult to monitor that, right? So for your own sake, turn the cell phones off. It could be a very big distraction. Either you're texting, your social media, what have you now, okay? It is hard enough being in a classroom where before even cell phones, people were complaining about, oh boy, this is a very difficult concept. Add social distraction, be it your phones, to that in the classroom. Okay. So the negative impact, sometimes when I'm talking about this here, my students tell me, yes, Professor Chris, we know, but maybe it helps to remind my students about some of this impacts. Unfortunately, some of you don't even know that some of this stuff here are distractions. You think just having your cell phone on you and texting or checking on how things are going is part of the daily routine, and it's not a distraction. Okay. Distractions can impact you in different ways. Let's look at some of the negative impacts of the distractions. Hindering focus. Once again, most of the classes that I've taught are very, very, very technical. They're all engineering courses. So I know even missing a class, one class, how that could throw you off track. So if you happen to be in the class, why would you want something else to distract you? Just focus on the concepts there, listen very carefully, put everything away, okay? And if you have something on you, you are reducing the information of retention. That means you're looking at your professor's lips move, go over different concepts, and you're shaking your head, I get it, but little do you know that you're not retaining anything, because while that is going on, you're somewhere else also trying to respond to different things, okay? And of course, if you're distracted, it's going to affect your comprehension, and at the very, very, very minimum, that is going to affect your grades. If you do not understand what's going on in the concept, you're not going to be able to do your homework. Homework leads to your exams. It affects your projects and what have you. Now, stress levels build up. When I tell students to prioritize, once again, what you're in college for is your academics, first and foremost. If that's not going well, that's where all the stresses build up. I get it. Now maybe you have to work, you have to do different things, maybe you're in sports. But again, if you're not doing well academically, that's where your stress levels build up. So if you have all this distraction, that is just going to increase your stress levels. Okay. Let's talk about some of the strategies to minimize distractions. I wanted this to be very, very quick because some of this is just to kind of help you remember, recollect, okay? So some of the strategies to minimize distraction, of course, I'm going to start with time management. You have a planner. Okay. So we're looking at the big picture now where you think, well, time management, my distraction doesn't really affect my time management. Yes, it does, because unfortunately some of you do this in big chunks. One of the things that I didn't mention is actually video games, okay? I have seen students play video games, this is firsthand, starting right after dinner, all the way into the next morning. Don't take my word for it, you can ask your own friends. Or maybe you know what I'm talking about. Because I've seen students come to my class, first class, 9 o'clock in the morning, and straight out just fall asleep. And when you ask them, they tell you they've been up all night, not working on a project, not working on an assignment, but playing video games. So time management is very, very important. That time, we're looking at 8 hours from dinner to the next morning, that is not built into your schedule or your calendar. So you're going to be tired, and that's not part of your schedule. Creating a productive environment. As I mentioned, if you do have a roommate, or maybe you don't even have a roommate, but your dorm is always very noisy, you cannot study in there, that is definitely not a place for you to create as a space to study. And of course, another strategy to minimize your distraction is going to be the mindfulness and stress management. So while you don't have space on your calendar because it's filled with all your classes and the work that you have to do, I think one area or something that you probably want to put on your calendar is maybe some exercises to do. And by the way, I am not against students taking a little break to have a little fun, but maybe you could put it on your calendar. Maybe Friday evening, I'm going to go watch a movie, right? That is not necessarily a distraction. It's an opportunity to relax, to do something else, okay? All right, so I wanted to kind of just put this out there very quickly as to, again, what may distract you while in your college, and I kind of just went over this very quickly, but, you know, I'll sum it all up to say sometimes that percentages we just talked about, right? The 80% of our students are indulgent in some form of technology, okay? And especially in the classroom, 40 to 60% of students being on their gadgets, things that are distracting them from the classroom. Students spend time outside classroom actually learning the concepts that was taught in the classroom. So if you can focus there, it actually limits the time. You have the instructor there to help you take advantage of the instructors. So, very quick before we wrap up here, my quick suggestions for final prep. Since we're in the finals week, of course, you know, different ways to avoid distraction and also to prepare for the final. This is actually a topic that I do usually most semesters at the end of the finals to kind of help students realize that this is the last stretch and we got to do our best. Okay, so I usually break this down into 3 components. I have the pre-prep, the day of the actual exams, and a post, what you have to do after the exams. All right, so let's start with the pre. The very, very first thing you want to know is how you're doing in the class. What is your cumulative grade before you get into the final? And the reason I say this is because some of you don't even check your grades the whole semester. You don't even know if you're failing the class, if you're passing the class. You don't know. So you do want to check and know so you can prepare accordingly. What does that do? Well, first of all, you know exactly what you need to pass the class. Yeah. You know exactly what you need to pass the class. The second suggestion I have is always have a mindset or an ACE mindset going into your finals. Because some students do pretty well and they think, well, you know, in the final, if I could just get a 60, I'm going to pass this class. The problem with that is, what if you don't get a 60? So my suggestion of having an ACE mindset is no matter where you are, You plan that way. So if you get an A, so be it. You get an A. Now you know you're definitely passing the class and doing very, very well in the class. So that's, again, have an A's mindset as you prepare for your final. How do you study for the final? Remember, the final, you only have a week, especially if you're just getting back from Thanksgiving. All you have is 1 week leading into the final. So this is not a time to be going back trying to study what you're supposed to be studying the all semester. Find out from your instructors. One, most instructors tell you what is going to be on the final. So review and trust the instructor's review of what your finals is going to be. You got to trust that. Okay? Is it going to be on the last chapter? Is it going to be cumulative? You want to know that so it can help you study for the material. While you're studying for the material, again, go over problems, concepts that you were not able to do. If it's cumulative, for example, go through all your exams and figure out the problems that you were not able to solve on those exams leading into the final. Number 4, avoiding distractions, as we talked about. Maybe just for 1 week, tell your friends you're preparing for the finals, so you're not going to be able to go to the games, to the parties, or after events. There's so much that is going on. And actually, one thing that I didn't mention is I've been in some institutions where it almost feels like every day of the week there's something going on, and students have to be involved one way or the other. For 1 week, you could just say no to all those activities and just focus on your final. I usually don't say isolate yourself, but for 1 week, if you have to isolate yourself, turn off the gadgets, turn off the noise, and focus on your final for 1 week, is going to help you tremendously. Okay? The day, as you prepare, so this is the 9th, the next day you're getting ready for the exams. Pray, rest the day before the exams. There is nothing that's going to happen studying through the night and waking up the next morning getting tired and going into your finals. First of all, you're not retaining anything. Second, you're tired. And third, while you're in the exams, because you're so tired, it's very difficult to reproduce what is already in there. I do trust 100% wholeheartedly that concepts that you've learned are still in there. And you really got to trust that. You really got to trust that they're still in there. What is going to help generate those concepts is you getting enough rest to make sure that you're able to generate. If you're tired, your mind is tired, it's not going to happen. So once again, at the end of the day, the night before, go to bed early, get some rest, trust, pray, you'll be okay. The day of the exams, now you wake up in the morning, take a nice shower, feel very refreshed. If they grab something very quick for breakfast, if it's an early morning exams, go in there with confidence. You are rested, you've studied. Whatever's in there will be reproduced. On the day of the exams, while you're in the classroom, and I do this all the time, and if instructors don't give you that time, take that time, take a minute. Have your exams, take a minute, just close your eyes. Whether you want to pray, meditate, whatever you want to do, you're just helping yourself relax to get ready. It's no rush. Trust me, that 1 minute you take to relax, build some confidence. You got to trust that you know the material. It's in there. It's right in there. You know it. Okay. Relax and take your exams. Try not to panic any moment through the exams. That's really it. After the exams, if you're a senior, you probably want to talk to your instructor, even though, again, most instructors are told, let's get a grades back very quickly. But if you're a senior, it helps to know whether you're going to pass this class as you're getting ready for graduation. Hopefully, it's not a situation where you have to retake the class. But that's something you need to know. Okay. So once again, those are my quick tips about prepping for the final exams. The pre-prep, find some time, space where you could just focus on your finals. have an ace mindset. It helps avoid distraction. Relax, relax, relax. Pray before the day of the exams. Okay? You don't want to get 2-3 hours rest before the exams. No, it's not going to help you. It's going to affect you on the day of the exams. All right. Well, that's basically it. So, there we have it. Tune in again as we continue to explore the evolving landscape of education and careers. Until then, please continue to stay curious. Ask Professor Chris. Please, please, please put your questions, comments in the comment section of YouTube as you're watching this. We're empowering minds one episode at a time. Don't drink beer, but leave beer. Very, very important for your finals week. Balance, eat well, exercise, and rest. Maybe I should add prayer in there as well. Happy, happy, happy finals. I'm not done. I'm still going to be doing this every 2 weeks during the break. Now we'll talk about how to prepare for the next semester. So until then, once again, happy finals. I wish you all the best. Continue to subscribe. Thank you for those who have subscribed. And I will see you all on the next episode of Let's Talk Edu with Professor Chris or Ask Professor Chris.